first Zoom Code the Dream concert. Super excited. We are so lucky that we have so many talented people at Code the Dream. We used to joke when we were in person and we'd have like a new person join. Sometimes we'd, everybody would go around and say their name, if they were front end or back end, and then what instrument they played and how they were going to contribute to the Code the Dream band. It was always sort of a joke because there's so many musicians. So I just think it's really awesome that we can continue the support for the Code the Dream band even over Zoom. So we have not made any plan for how to do this. So I don't know. Tom, Chuck, and Andrea, do y'all have, and I know that Tom, Chuck, and Andrea are not our only musicians in the bunch, but this will be perhaps the first in a series. So do you guys have an idea of how you want to do this?
No idea.
No clue. I was like, I tested the audio and I was like, wow, this audio is not great.
Yeah.
But,
well, I feel like Tom has a number of things planned. Tom, do you want to start and then?
I don't know about a number of things planned. It's going to be like a meandering journey. And I'm not sure how it's going to go. So, because I haven't really planned anything other than, because I don't, I guess, I don't know if we want to say, if the goal is to talk about why we got into music and then share some music and then potentially play some music. That's what I was going to do.
Great. That sounds great.
Okay. So I wonder, and this can be an open conversation and dialogue about how anyone would like to do this. I could, because what I was going to do is, well, for starters, I'm going to just say a couple things. I first got into music by was forced to learn to play the banjo as like a 8-year-old and hated it with a passion because I didn't really want to be where I was from, I think, at that age, or really most of my childhood. And my dad was from Chicago, but decided that he thought the banjo was cool. And so I don't know what happened. But, and then when I was like 12, my brother and his friends told me, bass gets babes. That was like a quote that they told me. And I, at the time, only cared about video games. And so I was like, whatever, man, I don't care. And then when I was 15 or 16, I revisited my whole philosophy in life had changed. And I was like, okay, you're right. I want to learn how to play bass. And like this guy I idolized was a bass player. This is the real reason. But when I first started playing, my brother goes, do you remember what me and my friend told you? We used to always tell you bass gets babes and you would be so mad at us. And it's always been a running joke because I later became a bass player. So anyway, I played in a ton of bands. I think I went to college for music school, or I went to music school. I started as an engineer and then took 2 years off and went to music school in New York and then came back and studied jazz at my school finally. Never was like a giant jazz person, but I liked learning jazz. I really like experimental music and like modal jazz and more out jazz. And so I always wanted to be doing like weird shit at school. But I've spent most of my adult life doing some jazz gigs, but mainly playing in hip hop bands, rock bands, and some really weird experimental bands. So I was going to share like maybe snippets of a couple pieces of music. And then because I played in a lot of hip hop bands, I've mainly as a bass player, but some as a keyboard player, I've had to do some production. And so I was thinking it'd be fun just to like make a beat together. And then I'll like play a little upright bass on it or something like that. That's what I was thinking. So I guess now I need to try to do this share audio situation. Let's see. Advanced. Maybe I'll do computer audio. Can I select more than one thing? Okay, just for the time being, I'm going to share my screen and my sound. What's going on? Screen now. Hello?
We can hear you.
Can or cannot?
Can.
The music,
Okay.
no. You, yes.
Yeah. So I've toured. So Charlotte Ammons, she's a local rapper, poet, writer, amazing human being. And I played in her band for, I don't know, probably 10 years and toured with her a bunch. We toured with the Indigo Girls for a while. And she took me and another friend to Germany as part of a all-female feminist hip hop tour. And it was probably the greatest experience of my life. One of the greatest experiences of my life. We were in Germany for like, I don't know, 6 weeks or something, and basically living in Berlin and touring all around. And so, and I think like she's had a huge impact on my life and made me a lot better of a human being. So I was going to play one of her songs. And let's see, assuming it plays. Yes?
Yeah. Some say life is a bitch. I think that bitch is a diva. They say we asking for it, as if they know our story. I say we grasping at it, gasping at it, passing magic. They say we looking for it, they call us average at it, but they can't see before us or us that they suck at mathematics. They think we gaming at it, playing psychobabble scrabble. I say we jonesing for it, lunging forward, hapless hazards. They say we savage for it, sorta borderless and foreign. Nomads who lack decorum, refusing useless human storage. And the matter is, with the fact that we ain't asking for much, And the matter is, with the fact that they've been taking too much from us. And the matter is, with the fact that we ain't asking for much, And the matter is, yo, the matter is, with the facts. Yeah, the matter is, yo, the matter is, with the facts. And the matter is, with the facts, yeah. Relax for a minute, look around while you're spinning. It's like in any instance, an intense and frenzied feeling. Get in the middle of it, love it like you living with it. Leave the shucking and ducking to the privileged and cynics, and for the peddlers with pennies and those who seldom finish, but never saw their vision for some shit that's unappealing. I see you asking for it, grasping at it, bound to have it, loud and passionate when facts are absent and not accurate. Cause the matter is, yo, the matter is, with the facts. Yeah, the matter is.
You skip the second half of the song, like a 2-part song, just because this is like the rock version.
Water, would you drink or drown? You're like a forest on a mountainslide, landslide, earthquake, heaven sakes, Jesus take the steering wheel, cause shit is getting real. We need a navigator, we need a compass, not a necessary mediator.
That's actually an Indigo Girl.
I can hear it. It's Amy. I know. Amy Ray. Hate you, Tom. And I love you.
All right, so that's Charlotte. She's amazing. This album has like Sylvanesso, all kinds of radical musicians on it. It's great. So sometimes when we were doing shows, she'd always get cool people to come play with us. Always an adventure. I've been blessed to her to bring me into her life. So the cool thing was during coronavirus, like all of the musical things I was doing stopped. And it was really depressing. And I think I didn't really, I still haven't played bass until like yesterday, really forever, other than a couple times upright, at least. I still play my electric sometimes, but I guess about 4 months ago, this band hit me up called Spider Bags. They're a local rock like punk band that's on Merge Records, and I play in a band with. I used to play in a band with their bass player, and they said, "Hey, we are looking for our first keyboard player when we start playing again in this summer. You interested?" And I was like, "Dude, hell yeah." Because all I've been doing is playing piano during COVID, pretty much. It's like been my one like thing I've actually gotten a little bit better at, I feel like. So for the past 4 months, I started playing with this really cool punk band called Spider Bags. Let's see, I don't like any of those songs. So I'll play like a snippet of one of those songs, then we'll make a beat. I don't have any idea what the volume is going to be like. It's like pretty aggressive song. So that's not it. Okay, I'll stop it there. Anyway, that's Spider Bags. It's been so fun. It's honestly been for me like the most fulfilling thing to actually be playing music with people again. And it's been crazy because I really wanted another experience to really like more practice on piano, and like being forced to learn a bunch of new songs has been awesome. So yeah, there's that. So I think now we're just gonna like kind of rock out for a second. I'm not sure how the best way to do this because you guys can still see my screen, right? Because I want to just like make a beat, but then I also want to stop sharing my screen but keep my audio going. So I don't know, Lydia, you're the master of this. Any ideas?
Yeah, you can stop sharing your screen, but keep the audio. If you go into the advanced options, and there's an option that shares music or computer sound only.
I'm gonna have to stop. Oh, let's see if I can I just unshare?
Yeah, you can unshare like right now and then quickly just share the audio.
We'll just try that then probably. Because I thought it would be fun just to try this. And we'll see how this goes. So you guys can still hear, right? So right now I'm starting. I have a couple drum beats I went ahead and loaded in here that are
Poker face?
What?
Was that poker face?
What poker face? What I just did on the keys?
Yeah.
I don't know. I was just like making sure I had audio. So let's see. So usually when I'm making like a beat, what I do is I start with like percussion. I should probably turn a metronome on. But I think I can probably play to this. So I'm gonna play like something. Let's see. Okay, I'm gonna turn the metronome on just to be safe. Okay, hold on. I don't like this part. Okay, so see, I think I got something I can work with in there now. I just drag this. Actually, I think we can rock the whole thing. Okay, so now now we're good. Now let's see if I can stop my screen from sharing but keep the audio. Did you lose audio?
Now we're good. We hear you.
Sweet. Okay. So I got a little so that's like this little synthesizer over here that you can see maybe. So now I'm going to try to record that. So there we go. That is a beat. And that's really all I got. Like, obviously, if I was really making a beat, it would take forever to like carve out like the perfect little loops and build like really long patterns and stuff like that. But that's kind of the gist. Usually if I'm like making beats at home, I start with stuff like that, and then like hundreds of hours later, it's like, you know, a song. So I don't know if there's questions or anything. I don't know what I'm supposed to do now.
I mean, that was so hot. I loved it. Do you have any tips for people who are like, I want to learn how to do music, and like, I don't know the first thing, or like, I played music back in high school. I played like the trombone, but like, I've forgotten everything, and just sort of like, I don't have the discipline to like do daily practice. So like,
So I mean, practice is definitely the biggest thing. But for me, like, because I remember how much I hated practice. Like, the only way I ever got good at music was finding a way to practice that I didn't hate. Like, I think about why I hated banjo and like the brief times I took piano lessons as a kid, and every student I've ever talked to, it's like, I hate the shit my parents make me learn. It's like finding a way to like for me, I find like I do repetitive practice and I make it like a mental game. You know, it's like, let me play, if I have to play scales, which I don't really like practicing, I like make it a game somehow, you know, and or it's like a meditation almost. Like I really try to get in like a Zen. I'm just going to do this for 15 minutes and make it like the most zenned out part of my day. And just like, I'm going to get into this repetition and feel it like a groove. But as far as like getting into production, like I feel like Ableton can be such an awesome practice tool. Like if you're going to practice scales or something like that, just make a beat or grab a drum loop from somewhere and drop it in there and just practice over that. Like that's how I practice now. It's like usually like, okay, I need to practice my E blues scale or like a E mode or something, because I know there's a song I need to learn that has that. I'll just make a little loop where that works and then just, you know, jam on that for 2 hours. And that's like my practice. But as far as like learning how to do the Ableton, I'm happy to give Ableton tips and stuff like that.
I mean, I kind of like click and drag. I can like put stuff in place, but sort of like, you know, like the technical stuff, like I can figure out. It's sort of like just knowing music, like just like having that like innate knowledge. I think that's like the biggest like gap. It's like, man, I wish I knew that. You know? Yeah.
I feel like music theory, and Chuck can probably say more about this, and Andre actually, I'm sure too. Like on piano, it's so simple. Like music theory, I feel like it's a lot like coding in some ways. In learning music theory, I feel like it's super helpful. Like just like, oh, a G minor chord, these are the scales that play over top of it. Or like just knowing that like anytime you're playing like a chord, like it's really a root, a third, and a fifth of a scale. And that like the G minor chord and the B flat major chord are relative major and minors of each other, so you can play the same scale over. So if you like you can play the same scales over top of a lot of these chords once you know their relationships. And then it makes like, and so once you know that theory part of it, it's really easy to start seeing how a lot of this like puzzle pieces fit together.
Yeah, I guess I just want a shortcut and just get there. Yeah.
Sadly, it's
So
also
amazing.
like coding in that way. It's just doing it over and over until it like unlocks itself.
That's really awesome. I want to make sure we have time for Chuck and Andrea, so maybe
Yeah.
we can do more questions at the end. That was
Drew. Who, Chuck or Andrea, which one of you is rolling?
I vote Chuck.
I can do it, I guess. Yeah, so I guess, can you guys hear me okay? All right. So I started playing piano when I was 9 years old, and I took classical lessons until I was like 19. I played in high school. I played the services at a temple on Saturday mornings, and I did some concerts. And then it wasn't until after college that I really toured with a band. I toured with a bluegrass band and kind of like a 70s funk cover blues band. It was fun. I've also done a decent amount of hip hop. So yeah, wide variety. And I wouldn't say I've practiced, like Tom said, scales, and I haven't done scales in forever. I haven't done anything that I would call practicing in forever either, but I do play a little bit. So I guess I could play like a bunch of little pieces of songs that I just remember, or I could try to play something all the way through that everybody knows. Just play and go with it.
just do it. It's awesome. It's all great.
Okay. So that was Imagine by John Lennon. Thank you. I figured most people would know that. I guess just as far as some other styles that I've liked, I did do some jazz. Yeah, so I basically just play like little simple stuff now. Some classical stuff was like. Eventually muscle memory runs out though. But Imagine was easy.
Wow, awesome.
I don't know, should I play more? Answer questions?
Does anybody have any questions? Tell us about your band.
So it was actually mainly guys that I went to high school with, and then a couple people I was friends with later. Got together. I came back from college, and 3 of them had started playing some bluegrass, and then they were like, "Oh, come check this out." So I was like, "Oh, I'm back in town. Like, let's play." And we just tried the piano in it, and it worked, even though the piano was not part of bluegrass. So that worked. We did that for a while, and then eventually just decided to stop doing the bluegrass, and we just had a lot of fun with like the 70s funk blues covers. It was just a lot of fun. So we traveled around mostly upstate New York, like Brooklyn, Long Island, the areas we were.
That's really cool.
Ramiro and I were in another meeting till just a minute ago. Did we miss it? Was there any attempt at jamming? I take it
Miss
that's
Tom's.
Yeah.
Miss Tom's, but we recorded it.
oh man.
We
Okay.
decided we couldn't, there was no jamming possible because
Right.
of
Delay.
Flag. It would be very experimental.
well, yeah, we could do something real out there probably, but
Asynchronous jamming.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well,
Tom
I guess
jam
I-
with Tom and Tom and Tom. It's true.
So Chuck, wait, I kind of missed, maybe you said this. Are you doing something now? Do you have a regular gig now?
No. Oh, me or Tom?
You.
Cool, Chuck.
Me? No, I don't
Doing
have a
band?
regular gig now. I just kind of sit down and play once in a while. I guess last music that I was reading was like ragtime. But yeah, I just sit down and like play now. That's all.
Did you already
Are you
tell
teaching
people
your
how?
son? No.
What's that?
Are you teaching your son?
I've tried. He will not sit down and do it though. The one thing he can do, which is really cool though, is he can keep tempo pretty well, like clapping his hands. And I think even as a baby, like I just intentionally sat there and either played or had music with it on my knee and just like bounced it up and down. And then I think he just like felt it from there, but he doesn't want to sit down. He'll like bang on the keys and say that he's playing, but 5 is also really young to start.
And did you already say how old you were when you started playing?
Yeah, I was 9, and then stopped taking lessons when I was like 19.
Yeah, we just my daughter just started taking lessons during the pandemic, but it's rough. She likes to pretend like she's I don't know. Yeah, I think she gets self-conscious or something. And I don't know. As soon as the teacher's there, she like pretends like she's a baby and doesn't do anything. Was Andrea about to play? Was that what was happening?
I don't know. I mean, yeah, I got really tempted now that everybody was playing.
Andrea!
I don't know. Oh, Jared's my cheerleader. No.
Yeah. Jared's that guy that's at all your concerts. It's awesome.
I mean,
I only did that because I asked her to teach me guitar one time and she was like, I can't even. So now.
No. But what was it? I was gonna mainly just try to show the top secret song that features one of our very own Crystal Williams Brown and singing, and I was mainly going to share that, but also I guess give some context. But I guess I can also technically play a little bit of what I kind of just practice on occasion. But I guess to start it off with some background, I guess my path to music started off with a very popular video game back in 2007, 8, I don't know. When I was probably like 8 or 7, I used to play this video game called Guitar Hero 3. And that is where all my guitar dreams started. I got inspired by wanting to play guitar because I was really into this game, and then I was like, wow, why not try it in real life, even though the game is so different from real life. And so after that, that's kind of just where it sparked a little bit of interest. And then along the way, just one day my mom was just driving around. I guess we were getting groceries or something, and I saw this big blue sign across the street, and I kind of just said guitar lessons, or maybe it just said music lessons. And I told my mom if I could take music lessons there. And that place was at a church that I used to live by now, but now I do live pretty close to it. And my mom she took me because it was relatively cheap to go there. And it was just like, all right, we're gonna try this guitar stuff out. And then, yeah, a couple of months in, I was learning guitar. I got asked to go ahead and join the church band, and along the way there kind of just grew a bit more in my experience being able to perform in front of people and perform with the band, perform with other little kids like me. And I guess that's also kind of funny enough, I guess I crossed paths along the way with Dan eventually that way, even though I had no clue until like a few years ago. But I was able to kind of just go around a couple of different like states out of North Carolina. We got to go travel to go to these different churches and play and like these different events. And that's kind of just where I've been hanging out. I do occasionally still play for the church, and sometimes that's kind of like nostalgic in some ways. But for the most part now, it's more like I keep it as a strict hobby because I just prefer it that way. And then on occasions when I get asked, like today. So my first off, I guess I was just going to go ahead and mostly just share the link to, this is a song that was created, I don't know, maybe like a day or two, when Crystal had these lyrics that she wanted to kind of just do something with. And I had heard Crystal's voice before, and I was really like mesmerized by it. So I was like, I do want to collaborate with Crystal. I don't know how, but I wanted to make that kind of happen. And yeah, this was kind of like a quick jam session that we kind of did. And it's, I mean, I was listening to it a few days ago and I was just like, oh, it's actually I still like this. So I was gonna just share that link here. I have it in a Google Drive, but I don't know if everybody will be able to hear it. I guess I could also technically share my audio. And
Can you share it just a little bit?
yeah, let me see.
Yeah, I don't think we have access to that document.
Let me go ahead and see if I can share my audio. Share my screen. Share my audio. Share sound. Okay, let's see. Can you guys see my? I don't know what you guys can see right now. But let me know if you guys can hear something. Let's see. Not sure if this will play because my internet is very bad. Can you guys hear something? Okay. There we go. That was, I don't know what the song is called actually. I don't think we came up with a name, but.
There is no name. I was so nervous listening to it, like I was the one singing. Well, I am the one singing, but like I was singing it right now. But it actually sounded better than I remembered.
That was my thought as well. I was like, oh, yeah, it sounded okay.
Tell everybody where it was recorded.
Well, that's right. Yeah, it was recorded in Park Office Drive's Stairway Hall.
It was not locked either, so occasionally people would walk through and just like awkwardly like, yeah, we're just singing here, nothing to see.
Yeah, I was like, I remember walking in that stairway and I was just like, yeah, the echo here is, yeah, I mean, it's great. We can try, we can experiment here. That was probably the only place that we could like go to not bother other people, but it turns out it had pretty good audio as well.
It actually came from, I was talking with Daisy about how like I just make up songs. Like that's just something I always like do to entertain myself. And she's like, you should make a Code the Dream theme song. So then I just like quickly wrote some lyrics and I didn't expect Andrea to be like, hey, I just made your music to go with your song. Like, really? That's awesome. It was so quick.
But yeah, it was a fun one. I'm open to adding more people into the song if you would like to. Applications, just send them over for all instruments or singers, anything. Yeah, that was a fun experiment. I don't know though if I should play anything. I was actually, this wasn't I wasn't not going to play anything, but I did want to ask a quick question if anybody knows how to play this instrument, because I don't know how this instrument is played, but I was given it as a thing to experiment with. Maybe Tom, you know, because it's actually a bass, but it's not really a bass. So let me grab it.
Oh, is it a uke bass?
Oh,
Oh no.
whoa, it's 12 string.
So this is I think it's called a bajo quinto. Bajo quinto, I think it's called. Yeah, and okay, somebody knows, because I'm a little worried somebody is not gonna know what this is. I don't know how.
Wait, how is it tuned, Andrea?
So that's a good question, Tom, because that's what I'm trying to figure out. But I think it's like supposed to be tuned in like I think it's A D C G F or CF, but it's really weird because it's like it's got guitar strings together with like bass strings, and it's really tough to tune because I have to like figure out how to tune like all these. I think it's like 10. These were like 10 strings.
And the strings are all octaves from, right? So each string's got
yes.
a low and a.
Yes, exactly. So this is probably not in tune, but it's very unique sound, I would say. But I have no clue how to play it, actually. And I was mostly hoping somebody out there would know, perhaps.
I don't know, but I'm definitely down to get together and check that thing out. It looks super fun.
Yeah, I don't want to keep it as a antique, so I
add some bajo to the Code the Dream theme song, clearly.
It would be really cool to figure out how that one works. But yeah, that's not a guitar, but this is a guitar that I usually play or practice with. And I don't know how the sound's gonna be for this, quite frankly. That was my main worry, but I was mostly just gonna practice or play what I usually just practice for fun. It's one of my favorite songs. I want to say maybe some of you guys will recognize it, but if not, I'll just name it at the end of it. So let's see. So I can't tell if you guys can see the little boy. That one. But it's called Isn't She Lovely by Stevie Wonder. And I think that's pretty much what I was all gonna do. I mean, I could play other stuff, but I feel like we're also running out of time.
Wait a minute, I'm still trying to hit everyone with a photo of the first time I booked an Andrea concert, 2013. I'm just really bad at finding it.
I did want to show like another thing, but I can't find it on some. It's supposed to be on YouTube. Yeah, it's the one time where I did like a thing in viola because when I was younger, or in high school, I did join the orchestra, and that was probably more where I learned a little bit of music theory on my end. And yeah, it was one time I got to play my viola in a. I don't actually know who I was with, but they were with these people that were musically talented, and I'll need to find that video one day to share it. But that's all my musical background: guitar and sometimes viola.
That's so awesome. You're all so talented. Okay, unmute and give a big hand to Tom and Chuck and Andrea. The best Code the Dream concert ever. Yay. I guess, does anybody have any questions for Andrea or Chuck or Tom?
Yeah, I have a question. Did any of you take like a course online for playing your instruments, or you just did it as a hobby and learned along the way?
Courses online. I mean, no, I didn't do that for when I first started, but there is actually a place that I do sometimes check out. Not really for courses, it's mostly just for like inspiration sometimes. It's called I think it's called Pickup Music. And I think it's mostly just like a website where a bunch of different like artists come through and they share some of their knowledge. Most times I just check out the licks, and those are pretty cool to always get to check out and get more ideas or inspo. But no, I don't really have any courses recommendations.
So there's a ton of great stuff online. I see, like, I think depending on what instrument you're trying to learn. For keyboards, for piano and drum, well, I guess not necessarily drums. There's a lot of stuff that's like if you're using a MIDI keyboard, there's like live feedback if you're messing up and stuff. So you're like literally like playing along with something and it's like, oh, you missed that note. So it's pretty like, I think, easy to learn. That's almost like playing Guitar Hero.
Yeah, there's one that I've been doing called Melodics.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, it's cool. It is exactly like Guitar Hero. Yeah.
I should have said Guitar Hero.
Sometimes I'll go to YouTube and I'll just be like, oh, how'd they do that? And it's like,
yeah.
Thank you, Andrea and Tom.
Andrea, how long ago was it that you started playing Guitar Hero and it's like, I want to learn how to do this to like like this beautiful music you're making now?
How long did that I started playing Guitar Hero, or that when was the last time I played Guitar Hero?
When you transitioned from Guitar Hero to like actually playing the guitar?
Yeah, I think I was like 7 or 8, and then by the time I hit like 9, I was just like, all right, we're gonna learn. At least that's when I started music lessons.
Yeah. Okay.
So that was like, it was like a good 6 months probably where I was hardcore Guitar Hero, and then went off. I was like, once I learned real guitar, I was like, Guitar Hero is not the same.
Yeah, just pressing a button. Yeah. Yeah.
I used to be a big fan of Guitar Hero too, Andrea. I mean, like, I didn't even have it, but like one of my friends had it, and like whenever I visit, we play. So For me, it was the other way. I already used to play the guitar, and Guitar Hero, like I really liked it. I just like pressing the button, and it's like, oh, it's a good practice too.
Would you be able to share some of the resources for like learning or like the melodics that TC mentioned? I think that's what it said in the music channel for future reference.
Yeah, I can share the melodics thing. Yeah, that requires you to have a MIDI keyboard and probably a computer to plug it in, or like a, you know, whatever to plug it into. So.
Okay.
All right. Well, this was so awesome, you guys. I think this is going to be the first of a series because I know there's other people who play music too. But Chuck and Tom and Andrea, thank you guys so much for kicking off our music series. Y'all are all amazing and inspiring and so talented in so many ways. So thank you guys for sharing. And I believe that concludes today's huddle.